Hello, everybody. If there are people out there, we are a little bit early. You are early and I am early, so don't worry, we will be starting very soon. So now is a chance to pour yourself a little glass of Irish whiskey if you like, maybe some Irish beer, and we will be started very soon. So log into YouTube and please say hello to join the discussion. And there'll be a chance to ask some questions and to respond to certain things. Sylvan is the first person in the chat. Great to see you here, Sylvan. Thank you for joining. Okay, so hello, Mia. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I know that you were here at the pronunciation meeting last week, and that was really great. So, hello, Jean-Marie. Thank you for joining us. It's great to see you here, Jean-Marie. Great. It's great to have a few people here. As I said, we are still a little bit early, so don't worry. We will be starting in a few minutes. If you want to go and make a nice cup of tea, now is your chance. Or, like I said, pour something a little stronger. I think Sylvan probably has a glass of Irish whiskey beside him this evening. So I'm just going to get my screen ready. The screen might go black for a few seconds, but don't worry, I'll still be here. Oh, no, you're not supposed to see that yet. Still before time. Good. Aha, Sylvan said, you know me, Patrick. Yes, Sylvan, I know you too well. It's great. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining. So anybody else out there? Anybody else want to say hello? So it's still not yet 8 o'clock. So you guys were all very excited to join, and I'm happy to see that because I am really excited about tonight's webinar. I'm just going to fix my lighting a little bit. Hello, Thais. Thank you for joining. Great to see you here. Thais told me that she watched with her husband last week, so maybe she's here with her family this evening. Hello, Thomas. Thank you for joining. Great to see you. It's so nice to see people coming along and joining in and saying hello and being ready to ask a few questions later on. There'll be a chance to ask some questions or to respond to certain things. So we also have Angelique. Thank you, Angelique. And Raisa, great to see you. And Kathy, this is great. So I love getting these messages. It really helps, and it's going to be good later on when you have the chance to speak. Speak to me in the chat. So thanks a lot for coming, and thanks for signing in. Trust me, I don't have any whiskey in my glass, just some water, but maybe when I finish. So we got a few more hello messages. Hello to Kathy and Pascal. Thanks for coming, guys. It's really great to see a lot of people here this evening. Mia is drinking tea tonight. That's great. A lot of people think that St. Patrick's Day is all about whiskey and beer and alcohol. But in fact, us Irish, we really like our tea. So that's a good traditional Irish drink too, a nice cup of tea. Coffee, not so much, but tea, it's a good choice. Hello, Nicole. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar. Jean-Marie is asking green tea. That's a good question, Jean-Marie. Maybe it should be green because green is associated with Ireland, but no, in fact, we mostly drink black tea. Some people think, oh, like English breakfast tea, but no, we have our own style of black tea that is even stronger than the English tea. So we usually drink strong black tea with a little bit of milk. Do you like, what kind of tea do you like, Jean-Marie? Okay, and we got 2 messages from Alans, okay? I'm not good at French pronunciation, so we have Alain Del Humo. I know who that is. Great old friend of mine, and it's great to see you here, Alain. And Alain Prudet. Okay, so thank you for coming. I know that Alain was very happy with the victory of France against the Irish rugby team last week, so we're not going to talk about that today. So Jean-Marie is going for green tea. Okay, it's a good choice. And Mia has Moroccan tea. Oh, I think Moroccan tea is very strong also, and you don't add milk. In Ireland, usually we add a little bit of milk. Okay. Yes, Jean-Marie recommends green tea for its antioxidants. Good idea. Miriam has also joined. Great to see you, Miriam. An old friend of mine, Miriam, keeps in touch with me with lots of great pictures when she travels. So that's really nice to see you. So thanks a lot again for coming. We're just going to wait 1 more minute and then we'll get started with the presentation. Okay, so hello, Caroline, very nice. Eva is here, a big fan of green tea too. And she's saying happy St. Patrick's Day. She's a little bit early because it's not quite St. Patrick's Day yet. So today it's a little preparation for St. Patrick's Day. So we will be ready for the big day. But I won't tell you the exact date of St. Patrick's Day just yet. Okay. So, good. By the way, do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day in France? What happens in France on St. Patrick's Day? Maybe nothing. Maybe French people don't know that it is St. Patrick's Day. Great. So it's 5 minutes past 8 now. So it's time to begin. If you want to add anything to the chat at any time, I would be very happy to see that. If you want to tell me about St. Patrick's Day in France or in the country that you live in, that would be great. So Mia says that Irish and Scottish people have fun in Irish bars. Okay. Yes. And that's a good way to celebrate, to go to our, I think cities have an Irish bar. So that's, yes. And some people in the Irish pubs, that's a good idea. Okay, so we have a few more people still joining. So Laura has joined us. Hello. And Caroline says that her boss celebrates. Okay, maybe your boss is Irish. Good, great stuff. Thanks, guys. So, as you know, tonight's webinar is brought to you by Anglify. Anglify provides online one-to-one language training courses. So I really appreciate all of their work in making this possible. And tonight, Patrick Winters. So I'm going to be guiding you on our journey to the story of St. Patrick and a celebration of the culture of Ireland. So, as perhaps you know or guessed, I come from Ireland and I'm very proud to be Irish, and I'm very happy to be able to share my stories and my culture together with you tonight. So if you have any questions at all or any comments, please add them in the discussion. So today it's about St. Patrick's Day, a celebration of Irish culture. Before we start talking about St. Patrick, let's look first of all at an important point. Let's look at the island of Ireland. So here you can see a map of the island of Ireland. Last week, we worked on pronunciation. So let's think about the pronunciation of this place. So a lot of people pronounce it a little bit like you would in France, okay? So in France, you might say Ireland, okay? But in English, we call it Ireland, Ireland. So the first sound is an R. And the second sound is less stressed. So lund, Ireland. Okay. I hope that everybody can see it okay. I just got a little message. So we pronounce it Ireland. Now, Ireland is an island. So an island means a place that is surrounded by water. So an example of an island includes Corsica or Sardinia in the Mediterranean. You also have a lot of French islands. For example, Jean-Marie told me about Tahiti and Réunion Island. So these are all islands. The pronunciation, island. The country, Ireland. So today we are talking about the island of Ireland. Don't mix it up with Iceland. Iceland is to the north, and the capital city is Reykjavik. There are a lot of volcanoes. So today we are talking about Ireland, the island of Ireland. Now, the island of Ireland is divided into two parts. You have Northern Ireland, you can see here at the top of the island, Northern Ireland, and you have Ireland, which is sometimes called the Republic of Ireland. So today we are going to be talking about the entire island of Ireland. Now, with geography and names, sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes you get confused about Ireland and England and Britain and the UK. So today we are talking about Ireland, and the neighboring island is called Britain. So Britain, or sometimes called Great Britain, is the island that lies just beside Ireland. And Britain is divided into three countries: Scotland, England, and Wales. So in French, you say Galles. In English, we say Wales. Together, Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland make up the UK, or the United Kingdom. So the full title is the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Scotland, England, and Wales, and Northern Ireland. Most of the island of Ireland is not in the UK. It is an independent state. We do not have a monarchy. We do not have a king or a queen. We are a republic, just like France. And we are independent of our neighbors. So we use the euro, and we're part of the European Union. So that's a little introduction to Ireland. So let's have a little quiz. I want to see how much you know about the island of Ireland. So I am going to ask a few questions, and if you want, if you are quick, you can add them in the discussion. Okay, let me get my questions. My first question is very simple. What is the capital city of Ireland? So what is the capital city of Ireland? Does anybody know? What is the capital city? So we can say France is the capital of France. Sorry, Paris is the capital of France. What about Ireland? Great. Good, good. Okay, you guys are good. We have a lot of people answering Dublin. Exactly, you are right. Dublin. Good. Sonia is there with Dublin. You guys are good at this. Okay, so that's one for you. Nice. Laura used a full answer. Abdullah, it's great to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Very good friend. And Beatrice with Dublin as well. So let's take a little look at Dublin. As you can see, it's a beautiful city. Yes, L'Atelier dans la Maison said it looks nice. Yes, I think so. It is a nice city. We have a beautiful river that goes right through the heart of Dublin. So in Paris, you have the Seine. In Dublin, we have the River Liffey. And you can see this beautiful old bridge. It's called the Halfpenny Bridge. So in the past, people had to pay a halfpenny, which means half a penny, to cross the bridge. Today, it's free. You can walk across the bridge for free. So Mia has asked, am I from Dublin? No, Mia, I'm not from Dublin. I'm from the Midlands, the center of Ireland. So about 2 hours from Dublin. Okay, so my family and I, we all live in the Midlands, in the center of the country. Abdullah says it's an amazing city. Dublin, it's a good place. I lived in Dublin for quite a few years, and my sister still lives there today. So our next question is about these cues. So I want to know, true or false? There are more sheep in Ireland than people. There are more sheep in Ireland than people. Is it true or false? What do you think? There might be some different opinions. So Beatrice says it's true. Kathy says it's true. Raisa says false. Okay, we have a lot of different ideas with most people saying true. Miriam is confident it's true. Jean-Marie says it's false. So far, Mia's not sure, but Raisa and Jean-Marie have said false. Atelier says true in the past. Yeah, I'm not sure about the past, but I will tell you that it is false. Okay, it is false. There are more people than sheep. Okay, but one thing that is interesting is that there are more cows than people in Ireland. So a lot of people associate Ireland with sheep, but in fact, there are more cows than sheep, and there are more cows than people. There are a lot of sheep, okay? So there are about 6 million sheep. 6 million sheep in Ireland. And there are about 9 or 10 million cows. Okay. So Mia says cows run the world. In a way, yes. It's truer than you think. So false, there are not more sheep than people, but there are a lot of sheep. Okay, my next question is, how many official languages are spoken in Ireland? How many official languages are spoken in Ireland? So in France, there are, I don't know how many official languages are spoken in France, but how many official languages are spoken in Ireland? Abdullah says 2. Okay. Sylvan agrees, Sonia agrees. Miriam is less sure, but she says maybe 2. Thomas says 3. A lot of people are saying 2. Raisa says 2 or 3. Yes, okay. So, Thais says 2. Yes. Really, there are 2 official languages in Ireland. So we have English, which most of us speak. So most people speak English on a daily basis. So if you visit Ireland and you are studying English, good, you will be able to communicate with everyone. It won't be a problem. However, there are some areas where people speak mostly Gaeilge. Okay, Gaeilge is the name of our indigenous language. In English, we simply call it Irish, the Irish language. So most of us can speak a little Irish, but it's not a language we use day to day. So Jean-Marie has taught me in France just one official language. Thank you, Jean-Marie. In Ireland, 2 official languages. Now, some people said 3. In Northern Ireland, some people speak a language called Ulster Scots, but it's not considered, I don't think it's an official language. It's debatable, and it's more like a dialect, Ulster Scots. So certainly in the Republic where I come from, there are just 2 official languages, English and Irish. Okay, Mia has asked a really good question. Is that a little bit similar to English or very different? So I will tell you, Mia, it's very different, and we will find out more about that later, okay? So it's very different. In fact, it is not related to English at all. It's a much older language than English. And Miriam has asked, do I speak it? Yes, I do. Not as well as I speak English, of course. English is my mother tongue, but I can speak some Irish, and all Irish students learn Irish at school, learn the language at school. And in order to go to university, you have to pass an exam in Irish, but I don't practice a lot. I always say, maybe I will practice Irish a little more in the future. So it's a plan for the future, for sure. But I should learn more French first, okay? Now, my next question is about sport. What is the most popular sport in Ireland? What do you think is the most popular sport in Ireland? Now, this is a difficult one. Yes. So Sonia says rugby. Alan agrees, rugby. Thomas says rugby too. A lot of people saying rugby. Thais says Gaelic football. Okay. So Latelia Donna Mason says drinking beer. It's popular, all right. It's popular. Mia says whiskey. Raisa says Gaelic football and rugby. Raisa, you have to choose one. I asked for the most popular. Jean-Marie and Abdullah say rugby too. Okay, a lot of people saying rugby. Okay, let's answer this picture. Popular sport in Ireland. Beatrice, you are right. Gaelic football. So this is Gaelic football, and it's the most popular sport in Ireland. There are 4 very popular sports in Ireland. Rugby is one. Football or soccer, similar to what you play in France, is another. And then we have hurling and Gaelic football. So of those 2, Gaelic football is the most popular, but hurling is popular too. And later we will learn a little bit about the sports of Gaelic football and hurling. Okay, rugby is popular, but it's more in the south, Cork and Limerick and around Dublin that rugby is popular. But Gaelic football, it's popular all over the country. Okay, my next question is, on what date is St. Patrick's Day? On what date is St. Patrick's Day? That's an easy question. Thais says the 17th of March, the 17th of March. Laura says today. No, not yet, Laura. Not yet. Good. Most people know that one. It's on the 17th of March, or you can say March 17th. So for our dates in English, we usually say on the 17th of March, but you can also say on March 17th. Both are okay. Sylvan said on Monday, exactly. So we will celebrate on Monday. It will be a great day in Ireland, and we're going to learn about that, as you can see, the 17th of March. Okay, and my final question for this quiz is, what is the population of Ireland? What is the population of Ireland? So I think that the population of France is about 60 or 70 million people. What's the population of Ireland? Approximately. Okay, a lot of people saying 6 million. 6 million. L'atelier dans la maison between 6 and 9 million. Mia says 40 million. No. Remember, Mia, there are more cows than people. So that would be a lot of cows. Sonia says 10. Raisa says 10. Jean-Marie says 5 and? A lot of people saying 5. Okay. The answer is 7 million. Okay. So l'atelier dans la maison was correct between 6 and 9 because there are about 5 or 6 million sheep and about 9 million cows. So it's in between that. So the island of Ireland has about 7 million, maybe a little bit more. So a little bit over 5 million in the Republic and about 2 million in Northern Ireland. So in total, about 7 million people. Okay, great. So that's the end of our quiz. You guys did pretty well. I think you got the capital and you got the languages. You didn't do so well with the sheep and the sport, but you did pretty well overall. Okay, so we are here to talk about this man. This is St. Patrick. Okay, but who was St. Patrick? Okay, so I am going to tell you the story of St. Patrick, the man you can see here. But before we tell his story, I want to tell you some key words that there are in the story. So the first word is pirates. Now, sometimes when we think of pirates, we think of Jack Sparrow and the Pirates of the Caribbean, but there were also pirates in Europe a long time ago. So in our story, there will be pirates, okay? So pirates that come in boats to steal things. Lots of great movies about that. The next picture is of slaves. So again, slaves, we sometimes think about the United States of America, Brazil, the Caribbean, and the transatlantic slave trade, okay? But there was slavery in Europe a long time before that. So in our story, we have the word slaves. So a slave, someone who has to work for no pay, for no reward. They are a prisoner who has to work. Our next picture is a shepherd. Shepherd. So a shepherd, you can see it comes from the word sheep and herd. So herd means a group of animals, certain animals together, cows, sheep, horses. You have a herd. So a shepherd is someone who looks after the herd of sheep or the flock of sheep, someone who makes sure that the sheep are safe and who moves them around when necessary. It's similar to a sheep farmer, but a shepherd will usually stay with the sheep. Okay, shepherd, shepherd. So again, be careful with the pronunciation. That H in the middle, in this case, is silent. So shepherd, shepherd. Next, we have a picture of a storm. So in our story, there will be a storm. I think in French you say tempest, okay? So when there's a lot of wind, thunder, and lightning, heavy rain, it's a storm. In our story, we will also have the word fire or bonfire, okay? So what's a bonfire? A bonfire means a big fire outside, okay? So sometimes for festivals or celebrations, people have bonfires, okay? So you can have a big fire outside, it's called a bonfire. And our next word is a walking stick, walking stick. So a walking stick, you might see today, maybe a person who has been injured or sometimes old people use a walking stick to assist them in their walking, okay? So it's a beautiful traditional walking stick. As you can see, this is a shepherd style walking stick. The next, the story of St. Patrick. So the first important thing to learn is that St. Patrick was not born in Ireland. In fact, St. Patrick was born in Britain. He was probably born in Wales in approximately the year 400. So that's almost 2,000 years ago. So 1,600 years ago, St. Patrick was born in Wales. So that's the first misconception that a lot of people have. They think, oh, St. Patrick is Irish, but he was born in Wales. And he lived happily in Wales up until the age of 16. So when he was a teenager, Patrick was kidnapped by some pirates from Ireland. So he was kidnapped from Wales and taken from his family and transported to Ireland. There, he was sold as a slave. So he had to work as a shepherd in the mountains. He worked in terrible conditions, looking after sheep in the mountains, and he was very isolated. While he was working as a shepherd, St. Patrick prayed to God for someone to come and rescue him. And one night he had a dream, and there was a voice in his dream that told him to walk down off the mountain and to go to the port and to ask one of the ship captains to take him back to his home in Wales. So Patrick walked down and went to the port, and he asked a ship captain to take him back to Wales. The ship captain said, "No problem, but do you have money to pay for the journey?" And he said, "No, I have no money." So the captain laughed at him and said, "No, I won't take you anywhere." And the captain set off to sea with his men. Almost immediately, when the captain went out to sea, there was a big storm. It was terrifying. All of the men thought that they were going to die, that the ship would sink like the Titanic. And one of the men said, "It's because of that boy. We need to go back and get the boy." So the captain ordered the ship back to the port and said to the boy, "Okay, we will take you to Wales." And when Patrick climbed onto the ship, the storm finished, and it was a beautiful, calm day with good wind for sailing all the way back to Wales. So Patrick returned to his family in Wales, and he decided that he wanted to get an education as a kind of priest at that time. So he spent many years becoming educated and learning about how to be a priest. Some people believe that in this time he went to France to get a better education, but we don't know exactly. But perhaps he went to France. After 15 years of education, Patrick decided it was time to return to Ireland because he wanted to educate the Irish people about God and about Christianity. So he returned to Ireland. But an interesting thing about Patrick is that he respected some of the Celtic and the Irish traditions. And so he knew that at certain times of the year, the Irish built big fires, bonfires, on the tops of the mountains, on the tops of hills. And so he decided that his first act would be to build a huge bonfire on one of the mountains to advertise his message to all the people of Ireland. And so he did that, and gradually he started getting more and more followers, more and more people interested in his message. Patrick traveled all over Ireland telling his message. He was a preacher and a missionary. In fact, he was very good at storytelling. And remember his walking stick? He always carried a shepherd-style walking stick. And one time, the story goes that he stood with his walking stick and people came to listen to him. And as he told them and as he educated them, more and more people came, new people, different people who wanted to hear his story. And he refused to move. He continued to tell his story day and night and day and night. And the story says that his walking stick was stuck in the ground and actually became a tree because he stayed for so long with his walking stick in the ground. But there are a lot of stories. There are a lot of stories about St. Patrick, and one of the most famous is about the snakes. So Patrick said that the snakes were representatives of the devil, and he didn't want any snakes in Ireland. And he took his stick and he struck the ground repeatedly, again and again, and the snakes swam into the sea. And today, there are no snakes in Ireland, and some people say that that's because of St. Patrick. Now, are all of these stories true? We don't know, because it was a long time ago. It's a mix of history and legend. But those are the stories that we tell in Ireland about St. Patrick. And St. Patrick died on the 17th of March in the year 461. So on the 17th of March in 461, St. Patrick died and he was buried in Ireland. And today we celebrate his day on the 17th of March. So that's the story. Thank you for your round of applause, Nia. I want to ask you, was there anything in the story that you thought was surprising? Something that you could not imagine? What did you think? What was the most surprising thing in the story? Think about it. Miriam said it was very interesting. Good, I'm glad you liked it, Miriam. Yes. Does anybody want to tell me, was there anything surprising? Abdullah said it was a nice story. Okay, Mia agrees that it was interesting. Good, Raisa said he was from Wales, and Thais agreed. St. Patrick is not Irish. It's very, very surprising. That's, I think, the most surprising thing. Okay, so a lot of people guess he must be Irish, but he's not. He comes from Wales. Now, he is also Irish because he also spent a lot of his life in Ireland. And just like today, you can be from two different places. Latelier says, you forgot the stuff about the clover. Don't worry, Latelier, it is coming. Beatrice says, very interesting that he was a slave. That he was a slave, yes, it's interesting. We don't think about the great saints as having been slaves. So yes. And Laura was surprised that there are no snakes in Ireland. Yes, exactly. So Irish people say that is because of St. Patrick, that there are no snakes in Ireland. Scientists probably say it's too cold for snakes. Yeah. Mia says that she's also surprised about that, and she thought it was like Australia, since it's an island too. That's correct, Australia, a very big island. But Australia, it's a hot island with a hot climate that snakes like. But Ireland maybe is a little too cold and wet. And Abdullah said he knows now the reason for there not being any snakes. Jean-Marie asked a question, did he die in Ireland? Yes, he died in Ireland. So after he returned to Ireland, he spent all his life there converting the people and educating the people. Kathy has asked, do you know other legends about him? I do. I know a few other legends and stories about him. There are a lot, okay? But we don't have time for all of the stories and all of the legends today, because I want to tell you a little bit about St. Patrick's Day today. But first, I want to ask you another question. So we have had two symbols of Ireland. The first symbol we mentioned the color green. So Jean-Marie mentioned his green tea for Ireland. And I am wearing my green t-shirt for Ireland. Here you can see in the picture, this boy is wearing a nice green jumper or sweater, green jumper or sweater. So the color green is a symbol of Ireland. St. Patrick is a symbol of Ireland. What other symbols of Ireland do you know? So for example, some of the symbols of France are the Tour Eiffel, okay, the Eiffel Tower, the cock, l'Arc de Triomphe, okay, lots of great symbols of France. What about some symbols of Ireland? Okay, great. We have some good suggestions here. So Thais said the clover, and Miriam and Laura said the shamrock. Good, great choices. Mia said the lucky leaf. Okay, in Ireland, Miriam and Laura are correct. We call it the shamrock. Laura said Guinness. Yes. Laura also has a great suggestion, the harp. So if you look at your euro coins, you might see a harp on some of them, because that is the official symbol of Ireland. And in fact, Ireland is the only country that has a musical instrument as its symbol. So that's great. Angelique mentioned leprechauns. Good, another great symbol. And Jean-Marie said the lakes of Connemara. I think a lot of French people know about the lakes of Connemara. Sylvain said the three-leaf clover, exactly. So clover is a plant that grows in a lot of places like France and Ireland. So out in your lawn, in your grass, you can probably find some clover. Some people look for a four-leaf clover because it's a lucky symbol. So the four-leaf clover is a symbol of good luck. But this guy is a three-leaf clover. It's a type of clover, and it's called a shamrock. So the symbol of Ireland is shamrock. And shoe horses as well, Guinness, a lot of good options. Somebody asked, Kathy asked, do you know any other stories about St. Patrick? So there is a story that connects St. Patrick and the shamrock, and the reason why this is a symbol of Ireland. What you can see about the shamrock is that it has three leaves, okay? So you have on a tree or on a plant, you have a leaf. So on the shamrock, there are three leaves. What does the shamrock look like? Remember, St. Patrick wanted to educate people about Christianity. So the shamrock looks like a cross, and the shamrock is a trinity. So just like you had God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, a trinity. Okay. Can you see my screen, guys? No. Okay. Some people can see it and some people cannot. Strange. It says that I am sharing it here. Okay, a lot of people saying no. Okay, let me stop sharing and I will start again. Okay. Okay. And now I will try to start again the sharing. Okay. So can everybody see the screen now? We have the picture of the shamrock. Yes, great. Thank you. Okay. So the shamrock is a trinity, three things forming one thing. Okay, thanks, guys. That's great. That's great. So that's why the shamrock is connected to the cross and to St. Patrick, because at that time, the Irish people had never heard the story of Jesus and had never seen a cross. So St. Patrick picked the shamrock and said, three things can be one thing. And that's why he picked the shamrock. And that's why the shamrock is a symbol of art. Okay, great. Now, fast forward to today. What happens on St. Patrick's Day? Okay, so I have some pictures here of St. Patrick's Day celebrations in Dublin and different cities around Ireland. So one of the most important things about the celebration is the parade. Okay, so recently I saw some nice pictures of parades in the south of France, in Nice and in Menton for a carnival. It looked fantastic. Sonia told me about it. It was great. So Miriam said in Dublin, there are parades on the streets. In all towns, there are parades on the streets. And there are big celebrations. Let's take a look. So you can see lots of color. You can see some cars or trucks that are decorated. I think in French you say char. In English we call these floats, parade floats. So there are parade floats. There are puppets. I think in French you call them maybe marionette. So we have puppets and floats and performers and dancers. So the parade is a celebration of Irish culture and a celebration of Irish life. Okay, so let's look at what is included in the parade to celebrate culture. You cannot have a parade without music. So Irish music is extremely important and it's a big part of the parade. Here I have some pictures of some of the most famous Irish musical instruments. So we already mentioned the harp is very important. Can anybody name any of the other instruments? So we have the harp. Any other Irish musical instruments? Some of them are common in other cultures. For example, the guitar. Okay. L'Atelier said the violin. Exactly. The violin is the word we use in an orchestra, but for Irish music or traditional music, we say fiddle. Christelle, it's very nice to see you. Yes, we have the fiddle. Great to see you. Good. So we have the violin or the fiddle. Exactly. In Irish music, we call it the fiddle. Miriam said the bowron. Great, Miriam. So the bowron is a simple drum that provides the percussion. So down in the bottom, you have the bowron. Yes, it's a type of drum. Mia said harmonica, exactly, harmonica. It's not very common in Irish music, but yes, sometimes you can have a harmonica, which you play with your mouth, exactly. Beatrice said the flute, exactly. So usually the Irish flute, it's played to the side, okay? So we sometimes call this the Irish flute. Similar to the Irish flute, we have the tin whistle. The tin whistle, it's between the harp and the fiddle, the tin whistle. Jean-Marie said the accordion. Yes, you can have an accordion or a concertina or a music box. So these kinds of instruments that you squeeze and release, okay, the accordion. What about in the bottom left? You have something that you might eat your breakfast or eat soup with. So you have spoons. So sometimes in Irish music, yes, people play the spoons. So you take two spoons and put them together, and you can hit them on your hand and on your knee to create a kind of percussion sound, the spoons. We also have an interesting instrument in the middle, just above the spoons. And this is called the uilleann pipes. Exactly, Sonia said the uilleann pipes. Some people say, oh, bagpipes. But no, bagpipes are Scottish. From Ireland, we have the uilleann pipes. Then we have the big accordion or the piano accordion. And in the middle, we have a kind of mandolin. So there are many stringed instruments like mandolins, bouzouki, guitars, banjos that are part of the music too. Great. Now, in the parade, yeah, Jean-Marie said the spoons are like castanet. Yes, it's a little bit like that, exactly. In the parade, you have traditional Irish music, but the best place to see traditional Irish music is in the pub, where you can go for what we call a traditional music session. So this is an example of a traditional music session. You see young and old playing together, and it's a good environment, really good atmosphere. Also in the parade, you will see marching bands with lots of brass instruments and big drums. This is not really traditional Irish style. It's more American style. So a lot of these bands travel from the United States or from Canada. And it shows the connection between Ireland and North America. And they're a really great addition to the parade, but it's not really traditional Irish. Now, if you have music, you should also have dancing. So has anybody ever seen Irish dancing? Or does anybody know the name of an Irish dance show? So Irish dancing, there are a lot of different styles. It can be solo or it can be in groups. Here we have a picture of step dancing, which is a solo style. And the characteristic is a stiff upper body, stiff, or in French you say rigide. In English, you can also say rigid, stiff or rigid upper body, and fast moving legs and feet with high kicks. Sometimes in Irish dancing, the shoes have some metal to make a noise as the dancers dance. And this is called tap dancing because the noise it makes is tap, 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 tap. Okay, so you can tap someone on the shoulder or tap a screen or a window. You can tap. It's that little noise that you get. Good. So some people have seen these kinds of shows. For example, Lord of the Dance is a good example, or River Dance. Yes, which are very popular examples of. Also in the parade, we celebrate our writers. So storytelling is a big part of Irish culture. We saw that with the story of St. Patrick. Storytelling is really important to us. And traditionally, people told stories beside the fire or at home with their families. It's a big tradition in Ireland and a beautiful tradition. And of course, When you have storytelling, you have great writers, novelists, playwrights, and poets. So here in our picture, maybe there are some you recognize. So we have Oscar Wilde. Can anybody recognize any of these great writers? So we have Oscar Wilde first. Beside him, this man was from a long time ago, Jonathan Swift. He's famous for writing Gulliver's Travels. Maybe you know the story. Then we have James Joyce, who is famous for Ulysses. Some people consider it one of the greatest novels in the Irish language. Next, we have Bram Stoker. He wrote about a famous horror character. I won't tell you which one just yet, but his name is Bram Stoker. In the bottom row, we have Seamus Heaney, a wonderful poet. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature not long ago. Another Nobel Prize winner beside him is Samuel Beckett. Samuel Beckett, in fact, was born in Ireland, but lived for much of his life in France. He loved France and lived in Paris, and he was part of the French resistance in the Second World War, for which the French government awarded him the Croix de la Guerre, okay, so the War Medal for bravery. Next, we have Flann O'Brien. Maybe you don't know, but he's a great writer, a very funny writer. He wrote The Third Policeman. And finally, we have William Butler Yeats, my favorite poet from Ireland, a great poet. Unfortunately, in my picture, I do not have any female writers, but I don't want to forget about female writers. There are lots of great examples, such as Edna O'Brien, great female writer, Mariah Edgeworth, she's from near where I grew up, Dervla Murphy, and more modern writers like Maeve Binchy or Sally Rooney. So there are a lot of great writers from the past, from the present, men and women, different backgrounds, because storytelling is part of our culture. Now, earlier we mentioned the Irish language. So in the parade, you will see some Irish language or Gaeilge. So my picture here says, An bhfuil Gaeilge agat? An bhfuil Gaeilge agat? So An bhfuil Gaeilge agat means, do you have Irish or do you speak Irish? Okay. An bhfuil Gaeilge agat? Okay. And you can answer, Tá Gaeilge agam. It means I have Irish or I speak Irish. Okay, so I promised that I would teach you a little bit of Irish. So I will teach you how to say, how are you? So in English, how are you? In Irish, Conas atá tú. Conas atá tú. So conas atá tú. Conas atá tú. So when you meet someone in Ireland, you can say, Conas atá tú? And the person might answer, Tám go maith gur maith agat. Agus tú féin? So, as you can see, Mia asked earlier, is it similar to English or is it very different? What do you think? How are you? Conas atá tú. It's very different, exactly. It's very different. Irish is a Celtic language. And so the Celtic languages, there are 6 Celtic languages. Do you know any other Celtic languages? Okay, Jean-Marie mentioned Breton. Yes, Breton is a Celtic language. It's not very similar to Irish, but it's in the same family. So there are 6 Celtic languages. You have Gaeilge, Irish, Scottish Gaelic from Scotland, Manx from the Isle of Man. These 3 are similar. And then from the southern Celtic languages, you have Welsh, right, as I mentioned, Welsh, exactly. Cornish from the southwest corner of England, and Breton from Brittany, okay? So great, those are the 6 Celtic languages. Earlier, we saw Gaelic football. So on St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate our national sports, Gaelic football and hurling. So you saw that Gaelic football is with a big ball, you can use your hands. Hurling, you have a stick and a small ball. It's a wonderful game. I recommend that you have a look on YouTube at Gaelic football or hurling. And I think you will be impressed by that. Okay. So those are our sports. Of course, with any celebration, you need some food. You need food. So traditional Irish food includes Irish stew. Irish stew is probably the most famous, the most traditional dish. Stew is something that is cooked in liquid for a long time. So usually to make a stew, you need at least 1 hour, maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 hours. And you cook some things in the liquid. Some people say, oh, like soup? But no, soup is boiled and it's cooked quickly. But stew takes a long time to cook because it has big pieces inside. So Irish stew has pieces of meat, usually lamb. So remember earlier we saw the sheep. A baby sheep is called a lamb. I think in French you say, I can't remember, agneau. But a baby sheep is called a lamb. So we usually use lamb, potatoes, carrots, and onions. And it's all cooked together for a long time. Agneau. It's difficult to pronounce. So this is Irish stew, and it's quite delicious, but it takes a long time to cook. You have stews in French culture too, such as, we'll try to pronounce, pot au feu and bœuf bourguignon. Okay, these are examples of French stews. So this is an Irish stew. So a few questions. Abdullah asked in sport, what about cricket? Cricket is not very popular in Ireland. It's more in the north of England and England, Australia, cricket is popular. India, cricket is very popular. But in Ireland, it's not very popular. And Jean-Marie asked, Irish cooking is better than English? Abdullah says, absolutely. Yes, of course, Jean-Marie. Why do you ask questions like that? No, I think Irish cooking is better than English, but there are different opinions. Now, from my particular region, because each region has their own dishes. So this is boxty. Boxty is a kind of potato pancake, and it comes from Leitrim or Cavan, maybe Longford, in the central area of Ireland, the north centre, North Midlands, and they're really delicious. So this is called boxty, and yes, it's so good. So if you come to Ireland, ask for boxty, but you have to go to my region to get boxty. Okay, so you cannot have food without some drink. And a lot of you already mentioned Irish whiskey and Irish Guinness. Okay, and so here we have some Irish whiskey. The word whiskey, the English word whiskey, comes from Gaeilge, from our native language. So the name in Gaeilge is Ishkabaha, which when you translate means the water of life. So whiskey in our language, Ishkabaha, and it means the water of life. So whiskey is very important in Irish culture. Some people say, but is whiskey not Scottish? Yes, it's a bit of a debate. It's a bit of an argument between the Irish and the Scottish. We're not sure who invented it, but there is a difference. So there are three main types of whiskey. One is bourbon from the United States, from places like Tennessee and Kentucky. And it is distilled. So the process of making the alcohol it is distilled 1 time. Irish whiskey is Scottish whiskey or Scotch is double distilled 2 times. But Irish whiskey is triple distilled. So we distill the liquid 3 times to give a purer, stronger alcohol. So remember, the process for making Irish whiskey is longer than Scottish or American. So American is single, Scottish is double, and Irish whiskey is triple. Okay, what's next? Okay, great. That's the end of my celebration of Irish culture. We talked about the language, the music, the dancing, the writing and the literature, the sport, the food and the drink. Okay, so if you have any questions, think of them now. But first, I have a little quiz for us to finish. And this quiz is called The Irish Are Amazing. Okay, so Abdullah said, don't ask for Irish coffee. And Sylvan said, my favorite. Okay, so Irish coffee, be careful. It's not just coffee. It has a little whiskey in there. So the next quiz is called The Irish Are Amazing. And the answer to all of these quiz questions is, think about it. Which one is Irish or which one is not Irish? So which one is the best? So at first. So which of the following are not Irish or which of the following are Irish? So first, we have 2 famous horror characters. We have Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster, and we have Count Dracula. One of these was created by an Irish writer. Which one was created by an Irish writer? What do you think? Was it Frankenstein or Dracula? And you need to think, which one is the best? The answer is the good one. So I like both, but which one do you think is the best? Because always the Irish is the best. So Christelle, and it's really good to see Christelle here, has said Frankenstein. Nicole has gone for Dracula. Rice said Dracula. A lot of Dracula. Oh, a few coming for Frankenstein. Okay, so it's mixed. Elizabeth Hansen says Frankenstein. Mia says the beers are next to Frankenstein, so he's Irish. Okay, it's a good point. Okay, so remember earlier we looked at the famous Irish writers and we saw a man called Bram Stoker. Some of you may recognize that name because Bram Stoker was the first writer to write about Dracula in English, and he created the Dracula character that we know today. So Dracula is a little bit Irish. Okay, of course, the character is from Transylvania, but the writer was Irish. Okay, so I think about half of you got that one right. Next, we're going to look at music and 2 of the most popular bands of the recent decades. We have U2 and Coldplay. Both are popular and good bands, but which one is Irish? Think about it. It's the better band. Okay, so a lot of people saying U2. Everybody is saying U2. Yes, you are correct. Of course, U2 are Irish. They come from Dublin. They've produced a lot of great music over the years. Coldplay are from Wales. Exactly, Coldplay are British. They come from Wales, actually. So they are Celtic cousins, but U2 are Irish. And Raisa says Coldplay are better than U2. Oh, I'm not sure about that. By the way, there are a lot of great Irish musical acts from more recent times that I really recommend. U2, Sinead O'Connor, Thin Lizzy, all different kinds of music. But if anybody wants any recommendations, you can send me a message. I'm happy to recommend great Irish music. Now, there are a lot of great Irish actors. So which of these two actors do you think are Irish? Is it Johnny Depp, famous for being Jack Sparrow, or is it Liam Neeson from Taken and Schindler's List? So Johnny Depp is more famous, but which one do you think is the better actor? L'Atelier dans la Maison says none of them. No, one of them is Irish. Okay. Nobody was fooled by me. Yes, Johnny Depp is a great actor, but a little eccentric. Liam Neeson is an Irish actor. Yeah, Mia says one of the best actors of all time. He's amazing. He comes from Belfast in Northern Ireland. And he starred in Schindler's List. I recommend. It's a great watch. It's a very serious and dark film, but also in a lot of good action movies like Taken and The Grey. So yes, Liam Neeson is. He also starred in a great Irish called Michael Collins. That's about an important person in Irish history. Christelle thought he was Swedish. Okay. He doesn't have an accent. Yes, as an actor, you have to sometimes adapt or change your accent. Okay. Sonia said that Pierce Brosnan is from Navan. Yes, a lot of great actors from Ireland. Pierce Brosnan, Colin Farrell, Cillian Murphy, and female actors too, Saoirse Ronan, a lot of great actors. So good. Next we have whiskey. So we have Johnny Walker or Jameson. A lot of people outside of Ireland pronounce it Jameson, but the correct pronunciation, Jameson. Yes, Jameson is Irish whiskey. Johnny Walker is Scotch whiskey from Scotland. So yes, Jameson is Irish, of course. Yeah, Jean-Marie doesn't like whiskey. To be honest, there's Jean-Marie, but... Okay, and now we have some US presidents. We have the current president, Donald Trump, and we have John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK. So I know that Ellie is here, but I think the better president was descended from Irish. Okay, so one is a great statesman and diplomat, and one is different. Okay, so yes, Ireland has nothing to do with Donald Trump. He is not Irish. His parents, his grandparents were not Irish. We don't know where he came from. Yes, JFK, his grandparents came from Wexford in the southeast of Ireland. So he was the first US president to come and visit Ireland, and it was a very great moment for him. So JFK, like a lot of American people, is descended from Irish Americans. Great. So we are just going to finish with some key vocabulary that we learned on this course and in our stories. Okay, so I have a page here with some vocabulary. If you want to check it out, you can pause the video later to look at some important vocabulary, in my opinion. So we had the word island. Be careful with the pronunciation. Island. Ireland is an island. Corsica is an island. Legend. Next, again, the pronunciation is interesting. Legend. Legend. So the story of St. Patrick maybe is not completely true. It's maybe a legend also. Slave. We saw that St. Patrick worked as a slave. He was a captive. He did not have his freedom. He was a slave. We saw the shamrock has 3 leaves. So the singular leaf and the plural leaves. We saw lamb, the young sheep or the baby sheep, which are eaten in the stew, lamb. We saw the walking stick. Okay, so St. Patrick always carried his walking stick. In the story, the walking stick grew roots. Okay, racine, I think you say in French, racine, in English, roots. A parade, so people in the streets, the parade. Tap for tap dancing, or also you can tap someone on the shoulder, tap. Emigration, we didn't talk about emigration too much, but we saw with John F. Kennedy, his grandparents traveled from Ireland for a new life in America. And emigration is when you leave your home country. And it's a big part of our history and our culture, because a lot of people had to leave Ireland to go to America, Canada, England, Australia, for work opportunities. Then we saw single. So if you do something one time, it's single, 2 times double, and 3 times triple. So we saw that Irish whiskey is triple distilled. And our last word was stew. So the Irish dish is a stew. Sorry, we went a little bit long, but I think these are great stories and it's important to share. Now, if you have any questions, please ask. I will be here for some more time. So if you want, you can ask any questions. If you are tired and you want to go and pour yourself a nice glass of whiskey or a nice cup of tea, I'm just going to say thank you very much to everyone who came. And I would love to see you again when we do this again. So here's our social media channels, our website. I have also included my email address. So if anybody has any questions, please just email me and I would be happy to help. So great, I'm getting some thank you messages and some questions too. What are you doing for St. Patrick's Day? My favorite thing to do on St. Patrick's Day is to just spend time at home with my family, just eating some good food, some good Irish food like box tea, and spending time together. Unfortunately, this year I'm far from my family, so I will be working on St. Patrick's Day, meeting some students and having a good time with students. We have the sports discussion class on St. Patrick's Day. We will be discussing Gaelic football and hurling. So that will be exciting if anybody's going to be there. Okay, so getting a lot of great messages. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed it. If anybody has any questions about what we learned, please ask. Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the positive messages and the nice messages. And remember, if you think of a question or if you're not sure about some of the vocabulary or even some of the pronunciation or anything that you heard today, please send me an email. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Alan. It's great to see some old friends, Christelle and Alan and Abdullah here. I really appreciate that you came. Thank you, Alan. Great. So I will just give another minute or two. If anybody wants to ask a question or send a message, I appreciate all of the messages. So thank you very much. And if you are going now, have a nice evening. And remember to enjoy St. Patrick's Day and think about all the Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Miriam, thank you. It's great to see you. Frank, thank you for coming, Frank. I hope you liked it. Oh, nice, Mia. Yes, a shot of Jameson. Oh, don't drink it nice and slowly. Nice and slowly. It's good quality whiskey. And yes, I think you will sleep like a lamb tonight. It's true, Laura. It's very true. Of course, of course. Yes. Abdullah, yes, time to sleep. Thank you for joining, Abdullah. Yes, yes, Mia and Abdullah, we stand with all people. Ireland experienced a lot of difficult times in the past, and today, unfortunately, we see some regions, some people suffering. So we don't want to see suffering anywhere on the earth. So we stand in solidarity. Alan asks about the theme next week. Next week, Alan, I need a little holiday, but I hope that I will do another webinar in the future. I'm not sure what the theme is, but if anybody has any ideas, please send me a message. Yes. Finbar, thank you very much for joining. Bula bus. Okay, so bula bus, it's Irish for clap of the hands, a round of applause. So thank you, Finbar. Great. Alan, I would be happy to see you at the next webinar, but I'm not sure when it will be, sometime in the future. There will be more webinars with more teachers, more people. I think it will be fun. So keep an eye on the Anglify YouTube channel for more webinars in the future. Beatrice, thank you for your shamrock. Nice. Great. Yes. Maya, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody who came. It was really enjoyable. Let's all go and rest and be ready for St. Patrick's Day on Monday. It's going to be a great celebration. And I hope now you can tell more people about this day, about the person, and about the history and culture of Ireland. So I will leave you guys there. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you again in the future. Okay. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thanks, Nicole.